Okay, hi everybody. This is Tech Sergeant Robin O'Bannon, United States Air Force, retired with the Promissory Note Project, and I'm here with my partner, my ace, uh, Ted Hayes, out of Los Angeles, California, and we're going to be having a frank and honest discussion about what's going on in the country today and what it is that you can do to help, and what you need to learn, what you need to understand in order for this not to be a wasted opportunity. So, hey, Ted.
Hey, Robin.
Okay, so if I can even remember the question that I'd asked before we got started, this is something that you have been talking about for decades,
Yes.
and that I've been working on for the last 7 years. And we have both produced fruit in this regard, whether we're talking about racism, the ramifications of chattel slavery in America, what it means to be Black in America, all of that. We've done interviews, we've done nationwide classes, we've done all of this stuff, and it's the same message. So why is it important now, or why now are people finally starting to pay attention? What's so important about now as opposed to before now? Because it was relevant then. So now, why now?
You know, as I understand, everything happens in its seasons and then its time. And I believe that there is an intelligence that we call God, who's orchestrated all of this even before the beginning of the world. I mean, he had it already settled. So, and we're going through kind of the theatrics of his plan, his ultimate plan.
Okay.
But bring it all the way down to earth, like a fruit becoming ripe. The message that he has prepared for us to deliver, the environment was not fully ripe yet. And it's good that we began when we began, so that no one can say that we're Johnny-come-latelys or overnight idealist. Right. That we have root, we have gravitas, we have substance to this. So it's like the perfect storm on so many fronts, from the homeless to tyranny, as we just experienced in the COVID virus situation, the intoxication of our government servants, elected and appointed, and of course the recent civil unrest around the killing of the gentleman George Floyd in Minnesota by the police, and the subsequent demonstrations and the rioting and the country burning, which has pushed the president into a position where I don't object of unleashing the military to bring tranquility domestically. And there's the usual suspects, the Democrat, liberals, socialists are castigating him. If it was Obama, of course, they would say a doggone thing, but because it's Donald Trump. But nevertheless, the point is, I'm for the military coming in, and you know, the viewers, you need to understand something about us Black people. We are not state citizens. We are federal citizens first. We have a super citizenship via the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the 14th Amendment. And that super citizenship is because since the Emancipation Proclamation, the chattel slaves and their descendants have been put under the federal jurisdiction of the White House, the presidency. Our legitimate legal official address as a people is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And when you read the law of the 1866 Civil Rights Act, you'll find that the president is ordered 3 times to defend us. Within that order, in Section 9 of the Act, it says that the President of the United States, let me, so we don't perpetrate a fraud up out here. Let me go to that real quick, if you don't mind, and give that to you, so that I don't misrepresent anything here.
Oh,
So
that's
just give me
fantastic.
one quick minute. But he is ordered 3 times in the law to defend us. And in section 9, it says, and be it further enacted that it shall be lawful for the President of the United States or such persons as he may empower for that purpose. Now that statement right there, or such persons as he may empower for that purpose, that goes back to section 4, where the president can appoint you, Robin, or one of the viewers, or myself, let's say over the city of Phoenix. And having the presidential seal of authority, if that person discovers that there are impediments to the citizenship, the super citizenship of the chattel slave descendants, that person, upon investigation, can arrest the local authorities, let's say the mayor or the police chief or the
Right.
governor, for
Right.
that offense. And that person can also, if the local servant does not obey and rebels, that same person can then, if the police will not hear his citizen's arrest, that person can go to the Pentagon, to the military. That's section 5, where it says that these persons can get the military to enforce their citizenship. So in section 9, he says, or such person as he may empower for that purpose, to employ such part of the land or naval forces of the United States or of the militia as it shall be necessary to prevent here it says, to prevent the violation and enforce the due execution of this act. So for the president to bring out the military to quell these white kids, primarily the young white kids out there, tearing up things, marching and demonstrating, shutting stuff down, creating chaos, disobeying laws, just crowding things out in the name of black people, in the name of black citizens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the poor little black kids out there, they don't have a clue, because if you ask any one of them, what is the Civil Rights Act of 1866, young man? You talk about civil rights. Do you know what it is? No. Do you know the 14th Amendment? Oh. Then what are you doing out here, young man?
Right.
You see, so they just don't know. But this is the power that we have, and what we want to do is begin to explain this to our young white friends, whom we salute. Don't misunderstand me here, even though they're ignorant. And I was first a little hard on them at first. I'll tell you why later. But as I said to them yesterday in a rally, a meeting we had out here in Venice Beach, I applaud. I said, thank you on behalf of all black people in this country, black citizens. I want to thank you, young white kids, for having passion and compassion for my people. You just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is that nobody corners the market on what they don't know, because there's a whole lot of I don't know going on, which is why we do what we do.
Right.
It is not enough to act on feelings. It is equally destructive to act on feelings with good intentions as it is to act on feelings with bad intentions.
Yep.
And speaking of intentions, so on the website, the Promissory Note Project website, there's a link provided to the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And how about, interestingly enough, section 1 is missing, section 5 is missing, and section 7 is missing.
On my website?
No, on mine. On ours. I put a link to the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and those sections are missing.
How's that possible? I don't understand.
I don't know, but that needs to be rectified post haste. Yeah, that ain't right.
Sure,
so that's something to write down, because apparently they're important. Why is it missing? I don't know. I do not know. So
So why were you going to go there? You had a point to make?
Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that folks understand that it's available to them. The links are there. But you were mentioning the law, and I wanted to make sure that I had the law in front of me. So, so yeah. So there's that. So what were we talking about?
We were talking about teaching people what this is really all about. Let me share something else with you here. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I've known it for many years, taught on it, written about it. But sometimes you can read something, you could study, you could even write about it, you can even teach about it very, very, eloquently and so forth, and lots of insight. But only when it happens, the environment is right, does those scriptures or your own teaching or your doctrine comes to light. And one of the things that's really come to light is Dr. King's I Have a Dream.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, Robin and list viewers, that when you read Dr. King's I Have a Dream, August 28th, 1963, the young prophet said this. He not only pointed out in the first half that after 100 years of the Emancipation Proclamation being signed, which was the beginning of the freedom of black folks from chattel slavery, he says 100 years later, 1963, the Negro is still not free. We may have a citizenship on paper, absolutely, 14th Amendment,
Right.
but we are still not practically free. We don't have experiential citizenship. So he said, therefore, we have come to our nation's capital, as it were, to cash a check. That's what that march was about. He said it's a promissory note. And he said that we take it to the Bank of Justice and we can get whatever we want upon demand. But then he goes on after that and he says this. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. That's the 14th Amendment, Civil Rights Act of 1866 in real practicality. The whirlwinds of revolt, he goes on to say, the whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. My sister, that hit me like a brick thrown by Antifa. Upside my head. I said, well, there it is. There has never been a time in all of America's history where white kids, by the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands, have wreaked such a havoc on this country over black people. White people have never been this divided against each other over black people since the Civil War.
Yeah.
We've been saying that this country is divided. It has not been this divided since the Civil War, but thank God, instead of the old fogies, it's these young people who are basically blank slates. And they are walking around, and poor babies stumbling in the dark. I saw a march over here the other day, Robin and viewers, and you had, I think it was 3 groups, and they were marching down the street, and the media person with the camera walking. They said, where you going? We don't know. It's march. Where you marching to? We don't know. They were just marching where they did not know. The whole movement is marching. And so it is with the African-American leadership, obviously, because if the African-American leadership knew where to go and what to do, well, for number one, this would never happen.
Right.
Okay, number two, they'd be out front leading these young people.
Right.
But see,
right.
They don't know where to go either. They don't know where the promised land is.
Yeah.
And many of them don't even believe the promised land exists. And the last word that Dr. King said the night that he was assassinated, the night before he was assassinated. First, he said in 1963, he said, I have a dream And then he said, I dreamed that one day all God's children, black men, white men, all that kind of stuff, will hold hands, sing together, and all Negro spirituals, free at last, free at last. But then he says, before he died, he said, I've been to the mountaintop. God let me go to the mountaintop. He let me see on the other side. I've seen on the other side.
Yeah.
I may not get there with you, but I believe that as a people, and I believe at that point, not just black people, but all people shall get to the promised land. And that's what I said to the young people yesterday out there in Venice Beach on the hill that we have captured. I said to them that we are going to the promised land, you guys. I know the direction in which the promised land is. And so this is a perfect time for us. When it says he shakes the nation to its foundations, the foundation of the nation, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, that is the very fabric of this country, but they made a big mistake. They tried to build this country by building it on the back of chattel slaves. And that has been the problem. That's what these kids are fussing about.
Yeah.
And so we've got to take them back to the foundations of the nation and what the Constitution says about us.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's that tendency to try to continue to build while pretending other stuff didn't happen.
Yep.
And it's a habit. I see it in families. I
Yep.
see it in business. I see it in just everyday life. That habit, that tendency to pretend like something isn't happening or that it didn't happen. And mind you, came by it honestly, because how could you function just in my mother's day? How could you function normally, go to church every Sunday and have all of this, have this great American life while simultaneously there is suffering occurring right in front of your face? So
that's right.
That's a learned behavior, to learn how not to see. And
Yep.
now the veil is being lifted.
One of the things that Mr. Floyd's brother said the other day to the crowd that was there, he said, look, y'all, you got to stop tearing things up in my brother's name. He said, look, from Javon Martin to, what's that guy's name?
Michael Brown,
all that stuff, he said, every time one of our brothers get into a hoop with the police department and get killed, the first thing we want to do is tear stuff up. He says, we've been tearing stuff up, but where has it gotten us? He said, we need a new direction. I said, there it is, Lord. He's put it out there. And that's what we're doing, Robin. Viewers, that's what we're doing. A new direction. The direction in which America was intended to go by the founding fathers. They couldn't pull it off.
Right.
It wasn't time in that day. The fruit was not yet ripe. It's taken 244 years for this fruit to get ripe. Now the harvest is here. And it's very important, as I was sharing with the ADOS people this morning. I was on their broadcast the other night. For those of you who don't know, go Google up ADOS, ADOS. It means American Descendants of Slaves. These are young black citizens, millennials, men and women, computer savvy. They're thinking. They don't call themselves African American. They don't believe in Pan-Africanism. They believe that the African American leadership has abandoned us. They're very, in fact, Robin, they're the ones who chased Kamala Harris out of the presidential election. They exposed her, and they are so hated by CNN and MSNBC, Joy Reid, and all them people that they have said that the ADOS movement is actually a Russian asset. So these people, I've been teaching them about all this, and that they have a role in knowing where to go. But they don't know either. They've done some good work, but they did not know where to take it to the next level. So I began to teaching them and sharing with them the Civil Rights Act and the 14th Amendment, and they're getting it. In fact, they're going to have a Chicago news conference, ADOS, on Monday in Chicago, and dealing with the governor on some issues. And I explained to them, Robin, that, it's one thing for y'all to be out there fussing, but if you don't know who you are, and your power, you really cannot speak truth to power. You just talk in emotion.
Right.
I said, however, if you know who you are, in this law, this Constitution, you can do things. And I said, take your flag at your news conference and turn it upside down. And so they're going to do that. And they're going to get all their chapters across the country to go occupy a piece of property and hold their flag upside down. And they're going to all repeat the mantra I'm sharing with them to repeat. And then once they get that, then they can branch out and deal with all the other local issues.
Yeah.
But black and white, Robin, they don't know. They don't know. But now's the time. It couldn't be a much better time than this.
Again, time for that veil to be lifted. All of this information has been hidden right there in plain sight, but we weren't seeking it. And knowledge is something that has to be sought. If I can be honest for a moment.
You did what?
Can be honest. This morning, what was really weighing on me is that in all of my performance reports, or in many of my performance reports when I was in the military, I would see these words and they've haunted me. And I get it now. And the words are, Sergeant O'Bannon never has a bad day. And it's because I learned from my mother how to make the hard things look easy. People look at me and they think they know me, Ted. They don't know me. They know a facet of me. They know what I choose to share with them, what I choose to show them, but they don't know, they don't understand how rage used to eat me alive.
Wow.
How one of the hardest choices I've ever had to make, and I continue to make, is to choose love. I could have gone off the deep end years ago. I could have raged and I could have rioted. I've had to deal in battles with white as the token, and I've had to deal with battles with black, telling me that I'm a sellout because I did not choose rage, or I did not choose hate. So I have fought for 51 years to be able to sit here and have this conversation with you. And I could have chosen rage at every turn. I could have chosen hate at every turn. Hate would have been easier.
Yeah, it is
in some
easier.
cases. But I knew who I was. And even when I didn't know who I was, I knew who I was, and I knew whose I was. And I just wonder how many people had to go through that battle, and maybe at the last moment, they just gave up and they chose hate. I said all that to say, rage is not the answer. Hate is not the answer. Hurting someone and hoping that they hurt as much as you do or did is not the answer. There is it's so far away from the answer. It is the anti-answer. And so those people who feel this and they just want to do something about it, and they want to do something with it, stop it. Sit down. Stop talking. Listen. Hear. And learn. From my white friends, I have been getting, what do you think of this? What can I do about this? I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling that way. You know what? Sit and simmer in it for a minute, because that pain is trying to tell you something. And it is a pain that has been occurring in front of you in the hearts of others that don't look exactly like you, but they probably have the same heart as you. And they've been suffering right in front of your face, and you didn't even know it. Something tragic had to happen before it got your attention. Now, I'm not mad at you, because when you don't see, you don't see. This stuff I'm not seeing. But when you finally do begin to see, stop scrambling so hard to get out of it. And listen. And learn that history that's been hidden in plain sight for over 240 years.
True.
The answer is not to go and just sign a petition so you can feel better. You need to help others, serve others, and that's what's going to move this. Service is going to move this.
This is, again, and I was saying to the young people yesterday to come back every day. We're going to teach You know, someone asked me, they said, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know, they want to, they're thinking march, demonstrate, protest, you know, shout, chant, and, you know, whose streets are streets?
Change this.
And I said, well, the first thing we're going to learn out here in this movement, you're going to learn who you are as a United States citizen. You're going to learn your preamble duties of the Constitution. You're going to learn that first as white kids, as immigrants, descendants of immigrants. Then you're going to also learn Black citizenship, the super citizenship of Blacks, and what that is. And then what we're going to do, once you guys know and Black folks know their citizenship, then we are a united we the people. I said to them, look at us as we the people as a battering ram. The head of the battering ram is us Black folks, the Black citizens. Why? Because we are the only people who are intricately discussed in the Constitution of the United States. Other than white citizens and a mention of the native peoples, the Indians, we are intricately discussed in the Constitution. Our occupation, our looks practically, everything about us. And we don't have that discussion in the Constitution that other people do not have, not because we're Black, but because of the way in which the white citizens, the immigrants, brought our ancestors against their will into this land in chains and created 245 years of generation destroying chattel slavery, of which we suffer from to this day. That's why we've been given this power, because what happens is when we use the battering ram and we're the head, we have the strength, we have the legal and the moral strength to break the door in. But we cannot do it by ourselves. We need the shaft of the ram, and that's who y'all are. You get it? Yeah. Okay.
It's clear that we have to go first.
We have to go first.
We have to go first. It's
We
not
hold
for
the key.
anybody else to say. It's for us to say. We stop waiting on other folks, because it's not other folks' mantle. It's ours.
It's ours.
It's ours.
And that's why it's so beautiful. And I thank these young white kids out there. And even though they're ignorant, just the fact that God has raised them up to raise the question round the world, the whole world is wondering about the matter of Black lives in the United States, because the whole world is waiting for us to wake up to our identity and bring this, I've heard him say, bring that white man under control over there. Because they see we have tamed him nonetheless over these 400 years. We have this man. Look, whatever you want to say about the white man in the United States, okay, all this evil stuff about the white. One thing about this white dude that no other white people or anybody, Black or white, brown, red, or yellow, has done in the history of the world. This white boy went to war with himself over another people. This white boy killed 740,000 of each other, close point blank range, over another people, us Black folks. These white boys, they were in a state of schizophrenia in their minds. They wanted freedom, but they were denying other people freedom. They were constantly digging in their soul, and to help rectify their madness, they wrote the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the anti-Ku Klux Klan laws. You know, Lincoln and Grant, these guys, these are white people. Harriet Beecher Stowe, she's a white woman. The lady wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin that created the moral environment to fight against slavery. William Lloyd Garrison, the Quakers, the Anabaptists, the people who built the Underground Railroad. Black folks didn't build that Underground Railroad. Harriet Truman got famous because of it. It was white people who did all this. Right. You see. And now here comes in the latter part of this nation when we're really on the brink of falling into tyranny, as we saw with the COVID virus situation with our elected servants. These white kids have said enough is enough. We're coming out. We don't know what to do, but come on, Black people, help us understand teach us. Don't yell at me. Don't call me a racist honky cracker. I get all that.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
all
yeah.
that. Okay. I'm trying to get rid of that racist honky cracker thing.
Right.
I'm Robin, the last time I saw white people act like this, which is what caused me to become an activist, a more aggressive activist around Martin Luther King, was when Martin Luther King was assassinated. You know, most people don't respect Martin Luther King, black people. We don't respect Dr. King. We really don't. To this day, most of us don't. Most of us don't. And then when I was a teenager, we didn't respect Dr. King. We knew about the civil rights movement. We knew he was around, but we didn't pay attention to King. He was a man, nigga, you know. And so when he got killed, and I was watching the television, when I saw black folks out there doing the usual dance, tearing the neighborhood up in the name of Martin Luther King, all right? And then I saw white people, even Southern white people, crying their eyes out, brokenhearted, just freaking devastated. Northerners, Southerners, rich, poor, the news people, devastated over this black man. And I thought, who is that cat that would move white people like that? And I learned. And unfortunately, Jesse Jackson and the people who took King's place, y'all, viewers, you may not know all this, but I'm just giving a little history of how we got here. Instead of recognizing the guilt of white people as being conviction, there's a difference between conviction and guilt. Guilt says you are messed up, you're wrong, and there's no way out of it for you. You're just condemned to die. Conviction is, I recognize there's something wrong here, and I want to correct that. I feel very bad about it, and I want to get that fixed. That was conviction. And they were ready. They would have done anything that Jesse asked them to do, which they did, and he gave them political correctness, keep your mouth shut, and embrace white guilt.
Which enslaved them.
Enslaved them, and further enslaved us.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world. So that was the last time I saw white people really outpour. Here it is, some 50 years later. This time is bigger. How ironic that a thug would get the accolades of a guy like Dr. King worldwide. I'm speaking of Mr. Floyd here. This cat was a straight up thug, man. Straight up thug. It was wrong the way he was killed. We all know that, but he's a thug. I was watching people all overseas with shrines and memorials to this guy. And I'm thinking, who died? What famous, what powerful, what hero died? Some thug got killed by the police. In the pursuit of, in the participation of a crime. This wasn't a black man just walking down the street, sitting on the corner, minding his business like they used to do to us in the early 60s and 50s and beyond. Black man, black girl, woman could walk down the street. These white racists pull up and police pull up, shoot them, bam. Take them out of the woods, string them up. Take them down to the police station, beat the shit out of them. Excuse my language. That ain't this.
Right.
That's why you don't see all the black people out there marching. Just some young thugs out there. Because black folks, we know. That's why we come out for Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, the guy in Baltimore, the guy in New York, because we know them cats in the hood. Them the cats that terrorizes us every day. We are more scared of them dudes than we are the police. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So here they are making all this noise about a thug. And I'm going to teach this. I'm going to say, look, white people, I want you to open your eyes and not be afraid to be convicted, but we got to get that guilt off of you. Don't let our pain and our guilt project upon you where you're ineffective. You see, for example, I said to them yesterday, for example, I said, did you guys know that on the same week,
okay, it froze up.
where was all the noise? Hundreds of black men.
Ted, it's okay, now it's back. It froze up. You said, did you guys know on the same week and then it cut off?
The same week that Mr. Floyd was killed, 6 men over the weekend in Chicago were shot dead by black men. 38 more were wounded. Every month, hundreds of young black men and women, and innocent black men and women, children, are killed by black people, ourselves. Thousands a year. If this was white boys in the military in a foreign country fighting a war, and that many white boys are getting killed, you better believe the streets would be full of folks protesting and demonstrating that. Bring our troops home.
It might be. Right. They might. A whole other subject.
Yeah. And yet here we have the same warlike statistics of black men dying. And I said to white people, where y'all at? Well, thank you for coming now, because you're going to get your sight and get it right. And that's when things are going to change. So they don't know any better.
Yeah.
And our black folks, we're scared. We're cowering down with these thugs. And I remember in the 60s, Robin, when the black militants and the Panthers would come around and they say, black power. And if you had to throw up your fist and you had to say, black power, whether you understood it or not, or even believed it or agreed with it or not, you better throw your black fist up there. It's like when a murder happens, when Pookie shot when Pookie shot Greg. The detective say, well, did you see the shooting? Oh, officer, man, I heard the gunshot, but I happened to be looking over there at that nice car. Ain't that a nice car, officer? But they knew Tookie shot Boo Boo, whatever that ghetto name is. But they ain't gonna say nothing because intimidate. So therefore, Robin, you and me, and people like us, black folks, citizens, have to rise up and let these brothers and sisters know it's okay to come out now. It's okay to come out now.
Yeah.
You have leadership now.
Yeah.
People are not going to do nothing until you have leadership. That's just human nature.
Always said somebody has to go first.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to get to a place to go first. As a matter of fact, you don't seek it. You end up going first because you seek knowledge, light, clarity, understanding, and love. You have to seek love. Otherwise, you will create movements that condone violence.
Yeah.
And the means don't justify the ends. That's how we got here to begin with.
That's right.
Created in the minds of people that in some way, shape, or form, they deserve it.
Yep. They
deserve enslavement because they're inferior. They deserve, they even desire it. They deserve. There's never been a turning away from that completely ever in the history of the United States.
Or the world.
Something. And then we have to carry that, wondering, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Why do people whisper when I'm in the room?
Mm-hmm.
Why do people try so hard to make me feel welcome, and it's just weird? Why should I feel badly about the way I speak? Why should I feel badly at all? Why? And that's an additional burden to carry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard enough to know who you are and whose you are in this world. And now there's an additional layer of what is that? But it's a burden. It's a burden. But here's the thing about burdens.
Mm-hmm.
Burden is weight.
Okay.
And you carry around weight long enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you recognize it for what it is, you realize it made you strong. And that's why there is nobody who is supposed to be on the head of the battering ram other than us.
Mm-hmm. In this particular matter.
That's right.
I think the reason that people take on the projections of other people is because we don't know who we are inside of ourselves.
Right.
I have learned more and more. I used to get a little intimidated, a little angry around here in LA when I hear all these illegal aliens running around and people speaking all these different foreign languages and the Lord made me be like, hold up, buddy. This nation is built on the back of your ancestors. You are a super citizen. These people are here by your permission, so to speak. Put your head up, your shoulder back, your chest out, and you walk tall with me. How the scripture say? Let me find it. He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justly, love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Humble walking doesn't mean you walk around your head hanging down.
No.
God don't want nobody walk around their head hanging down, hanging out with him. God wants you standing tall with him. Why? Hey, man, how come you stand like that? You see who I'm hanging out with, don't you? That's why I stand like this. I'm proud of the fact that I hang out with the most powerful being in the whole universe, the creator universe. And he has made me somebody in the United States of America. And you know what else people say, man, when they come up to me now? A lot of times, like when I'm out here, they say, I feel energy coming from you. Something drew me here. Huh? You've experienced that, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Isn't that amazing? I'll be honest, hold on. I'll be honest with you. It scared me. Whoa, what? Hold on, can I get this real quick? I'm sorry. It's gone. Good. So yeah, like, whoa. And the Lord said, see, feel that. Let it release out of you and show people what love is. You know, like a whole theme out there is love and tranquility and human advancement. And they want to love, but they think love is, I keep saying over and over, love, and not just an emotional feeling. I'm saying, okay, white kids, you want to love black folks? Well, the first thing you need to do is understand who we are and who you are in the U.S. Constitution. If we can get to do that first, nationwide, everything else will come to us automatically. That is the law. He says, seek the law of the universe as well as the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these ancillary things fall in order.
So, to be clear, when you say find out who you are and find out who we are in the U.S. Constitution, it is because it is what is reflected in the Constitution is who we are by our Creator.
Got it.
So if we seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, it's not about the Constitution. It's about the God of the Constitution that makes the Constitution viable, that makes it work.
In fact, it starts with the Declaration of Independence. Most people do not realize this because most people don't read. And those who read cannot comprehend, and those who don't comprehend because they don't know how to put these pieces together. I've asked folks, I've asked patriots, big-time famous patriots, I say to them, so who is the central character, the central figure of the Declaration of Independence? They stop and they go, King George.
King George?
Because there's a whole litany on King George. Yeah, King George, he did this wrong, he did that wrong. So there's whole thing. The King George, hold on, I'm wrong here. And Thomas Jefferson is, I said, no, read it. God is the central figure, character of the Declaration of Independence. It talks about the nature's God. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And then it goes on to say that he is the judge of all the earth, and then with the divine providence. That's right. So therefore, there is a separation between church and state, absolutely.
Right.
But there is no separation in the United States between God and state. And that has been our problem these last 240 years. We have ceremonialized God, but we have not allowed God to partake in the daily activity of making the Constitution work. And that works, and those 7 chapters with the 27 amendments, that starts with we the people. The articles of the Constitution, those are just dead words on paper. those words don't come to life until we the people come to life. And we the people get our life from God, who endowed, who get all men equal and endowed them with. You see, and that's how I'm not sure how conscious the founding fathers were, but nonetheless, I believe that God worked through those human beings, those flawed human beings, all of them.
Yeah.
George Washington slept in more places than Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, womanizer. Thomas Jefferson, slaveholder. On it goes. Yet, God chose to reach through all that flesh where sin did abound, grace did much more abound, and got us. And now here we are at the consummation of the ages. The black man who laid the foundation of civilization 5,000 years ago in Babylon has now come down to this point where out of Africa came a remnant of the Hamites, the black peoples, as slaves like Joseph into Egypt, a Babylon, and went through the fire and through the water and got the vision and interpret the vision. And now we're about to be brought up. And when we come up, we bring everybody else. We're going to reverse that. We're going to stop saying when the water of economics rise, all boats rise. No, it's going to be when we black folks rise, everybody else rise. If we don't rise, y'all don't rise. Why? Because we laid the foundation of civilization, and here we are at the end of all of that, being on everybody's mind in the world. This is our time.
Yes.
We are only the people in the United States, viewers, these black folks in the United States, these black citizens in the United States, we, of the 13 million people that were brought out of Africa as slaves into the Americas, meaning the North America, Central America, the Caribbean, and South America, the 13 million, only 6% of those people came into the 13 colonies, which became the United States. Only 6%. 94% of all the black slaves out of Africa went into the Caribbean, Mexico, Central, and South America. So therefore, that makes us a what? A remnant.
A remnant, yeah.
Of the diaspora, but a remnant with power, unprecedented power in the history of humanity. When you think about it, all this stuff I'm learning to absorb. It's too big.
Yes.
It's just huge. I'm learning to absorb this, and if I can get it right, the more I ingest, you ingest, we ingest this, and the Lord compacts it like a black hole star. All that weight and power's in there. It springs out of our soul, out of our heart. People feel it. When we walk down the street, they'll feel it. When we walk into a room, they're gonna feel it. And they will feel around us, robbing us black folks, they're gonna feel comfortable. They're gonna wanna be around us. They're gonna wanna sit at our feet. I was so tripped out yesterday when I was sitting on my chair there on this hill, and these kids, these white kids, they'll sit at my feet, literally sit at my feet. And I told one girl, says, you scared me. And they all just sit at my feet like that.
Yeah.
White kids, they've been waiting for this moment, Robin.
And it's not a coincidence. It's not by mistake, Ted.
No, it is not by mistake.
This rising.
You and I can point. You and I can, again, it's repetitive, but you and I, let's see, let me, if I can be straight here. I think that of all the people that I know in this country, you have the most knowledge. Even the guy that turned me on to this, you have more knowledge than he does now on this subject of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and 14th Amendment. You have done more work than anybody that I know of on the subject. You have a whole website there. You've been talking about it. You're doing these kind of things. Ain't nobody out there doing that but you, Robin. You're the only one. So you're way ahead. See, and no one can really critique you on this issue. See,
That's right.
so you have that.
That's right.
And I'm glad to know you. I'm glad we met. I'll never forget, y'all. I'll never forget the day that we met. It was love at first sight. I went to do a video with a friends, right? And he said, "There's a lady over here I want to introduce you to when you get here," right? I said, "Okay, cool, whatever. We'll go see." And I get out of the car, and he walks me into the house. Right there, standing smack dab in the living room, is this beautiful black woman. It's
You talking about
smiling
me?
at me. No, I'm talking about that other lady.
Yes. I know her. I know her. We cousins.
Your twin sister, your twin cousin.
Oh, Lord help the world if there was two of me. Yeah, right.
And Robin and I, we've hit it off ever since. And that's been how many years, Robin? 3, 4, maybe?
It feels like longer than that.
Yeah.
It feels closer to 5, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's been slow, hasn't it, Robin?
It has.
And
But
I'm gonna tell y'all something. You know, Robin has put out her own money to build this website that she has, the Promissory Note.com. She's agonized over it. She's studied. She's felt it. She's gone through her own personal issues as it relates in her life. And you know, anybody else would have gave up by now. But Robin is someone you can follow and listen to, because she leads by example. She don't just talk. A lot of people talk. Robin leads by example. Y'all know that. And I'm not saying it because she's my friend. You know, and I love her, but I like her. I'm not saying that because of that. I'm saying that because she's a real person. She's real. She's the kind of people you read about in books. Yeah, she's the kind of person you go to see in movies.
man, I want Gabrielle Union to portray me.
Who's that? Who's that?
I want Gabrielle Union to portray me in the movie, man.
Who is she? I know you. I don't know her.
Oh, just a beautiful young lady who still has all of her own hair, which I cannot say. People think that this cap is a fashion statement, Ted.
Well, it is a fashion statement, baby. It's you. It's your trademark.
Okay.
Nike. Victory.
Just do it.
And that's what you are. You're victory.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah. And please take that seriously, Robin. I mean that, people. To my knowledge, there is no other person in this country as knowledgeable on this issue as Robin is. Okay, Robin O'Bannon. Okay.
Thank you, Ted.
Now I want them to get behind you, man. They need to listen. I was telling the kids the other day, I said, look, I can't be the only one talking about this. Y'all got to talk about it too. Told the ADOS kids that. Y'all got to talk about this. Y'all got to know this, man. You know, we all got to talk about it. But Rob, I'm going to introduce you to the ADOS people as well, and have you go on the Chicago ADOS and the one here in LA and express your viewpoint. I want to introduce you to all these people, okay?
Whatever I can do.
Yeah, ma'am.
Whatever I can do. You know, how do you feel about closing it out?
I feel good about that.
Okay.
Let me think if there's any last thing I want to say.
Well, one of the things I wanted to make sure that our viewers know is that that our work on this subject is by no means the final word on it. As a matter of fact, we hope that it's a spark that starts a fire within you. The more we study, the more we understand, the more complex it becomes, the more we are learning. We are always learning, but now is the time for us to actually have conversations about this and start internalizing and knowing who we are and whose we are. As a descendants of chattel slavery in the United States, Ted is right, we are a remnant, but we are a remnant that has power to impact the entire world, but we cannot impact the entire world until we know who we are. And this is the time. The fruit is ripe. And we have no other choice that is the right choice other than to step into our role and our responsibility in this country, to step into our responsibility to God Almighty, because this is His and we are His, and our identity is secure in Him. And he knows what we are doing. And all of the oppression, all of the suffering, all of the pain is not for naught. It is about making us strong so we can step into and do the things that our brothers descended from our brothers and sisters descended from the other experience cannot do, because it is not for them to do. It is for us.
That's right, Robin. That's right, Robin. That's exactly right.
So I'm going to let Ted have the final word.
By the way, the two individuals, the Chicago ADOS leader and the LA ADOS, or Southern California leader, both like you, vibrant, beautiful black women, young black women. You know, that really thrills me to see that. It's an amazing thing that the three of you. I can't wait to introduce y'all.
I love it.
Well, look, folks, I'm going to go back out here this afternoon, out to Venice Beach, and see if we can keep this movement going, and so we can snatch this national narrative and bring some calm, some tranquility, and some healing to the nation, and fulfill the dreams of our forefathers, white and black. Okay. By the way, you go to tedhayes.us, tedhayes.us, and you'll see all the teachings on the flag being hung upside down, flown upside down. Why we do that? It's not disrespect at all. It's really an honor to the men and women who died under those colors, that you and I may be free. And if we just allow things to be business as usual, and we mess around here and lose this country either to anarchy or to intoxicated politicians, those men and women from 1776 right up to Afghanistan and Iraq are dead in vain. And Robin's service and the suffering that she has been dealt because of her participation defending what's under that flag right there, you see behind me there, her suffering will be in vain. And we cannot allow that. That's the least that we can do, us cowardly, punk-ass civilians, okay? I'm serious about that. Y'all, this veteran came by the other day, man. I swoon around y'all, because the more I think about you and I see all these documentaries of these boys going to World War II in Korea, and these people didn't even know me, what y'all go through. I just swoon around you. So this is the best way that my civilian butt can give back to y'all.
You know, Ted, on the tail end of, or on the tails of Memorial Day,
yes,
I put a post up on the website, by the way, www.thepromissorynote.com. We're also at facebook.com/A Gift to This Republic. Look us up and like us. But on the website, I put it was a tribute for Memorial Day and why soldiers do what they do. And at the end of the day, our force multiplier, our power is in love. And so I said, if you want to honor the fallen, expand your capacity to love. So many, hundreds of thousands have died in order to get us to this point. Yet we fail to make the connection between that blood that was shed and where we are right now. I'm not going to spoon feed it to you, but please understand that the major clue is love. It's love.
That's right.
And when you understand love, you understand the soldier. You understand the commandment that we were given to love one another. You understand the power of it, and you understand the pain that we're in right now is because the balm is love. And so we need to learn how to do it better and act on it. It is absolutely powerful, and it is the one thing that up to this point we have not tried.
That's right.
We tried to legislate it. We tried to do all of that stuff and force people, and no, that's not the plan. The plan is love.
That's right.
Do that.
All we need is love. Love is all we need. Love is all we need.
That's the plan. So do it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Sergeant.
You were. As you were. Not warranted, sir.
No, don't tell me be as I was. You don't want to see me as I was.
As you gonna be, as you about to be.
There you go.
As you about to be, sir.
Thanks, hon.
Well, America,
Okay.
we love you, America. We love you.
Sure enough, do.
And we look
Sure enough,
forward
do.
to helping you to become who God has always expected us to become.
Hey, Rob, before you go, vet, before you go, okay,
Sure.
another tribute here.
Uh-oh.
I was talking to somebody the other day on the beach. I
Okay.
said that you know that the most patriotic people in America are black folks. We are. We are the most patriotic, which is an irony. Every single war that our white brother went out and got himself involved with Europeans like look like him or Asians who don't look like him, we were there, had his back. Even when we were slaves, even when we were under Jim Crow. All the way up to now, we leave the homelessness. All this, of course. Yet, we love this country, don't we? Isn't that weird? That we would even worship the God of our oppressor? Isn't that strange? So, I take pride in that. And we are the guardians, literally, the guardians of this nation. So, that's all I want to say.
As a remnant. How about that?
And we love America.
Amen.
And we're going to make America truly great. Not great again, but truly great.
Truly great.
All right, my sister, I'm going to leave you alone.
Okay.
Let's do this again next week.
Next week?
The date? So the date, can I date you? Can we have a date next week, sister?
Sure we can. We sure
All
can.
right. Hey, how's that boy? How's that baby doing?
Don't play with my feelings, Ted.
Feelings. Feelings. I'm so glad I met you, girl.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, how's the baby?
Okay.
How's
all right, Ted.
How's the boy doing?
Huh?
Little 14th. How's he doing? Little 14th. How's the baby doing?
Oh my baby?
Yeah, little 14th.
Yeah, he's getting married. He's getting married.
No, not that baby. Our baby.
Oh, our baby.
Our baby.
Our baby's great.
Yeah.
Our baby's great. Matter of fact, him nanny just called me. He's being difficult.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You tell him he better straighten out. I'm gonna come see him.
Okay.
Daddy coming home.
I'm gonna call your daddy. Y'all, the Promissory Note Project is our baby. So
yeah, get it straight,
Rob. We're talking about our baby. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Oh my God. You know, I should have known.
Oh, the rumors are gonna fly.
I should have known that we were not going to get through this without acting up every single time. Every single time. Guys, listen to the podcast. Don't you got the wrong? Be careful now. We do this every time. Check out our podcast on the website too. It doesn't get better. It just gets worse. Every conversation just gets worse. And I'm not mad.
Hey, look, I'm gonna leave you alone. Okay, I'm going now. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Thank you again. Got the giggles now. Well, I tell you what, you start my day off right, Robin. Thank you very much. You start my day off with real laughter. So laughter, a merry heart does good like a medicine.
Yes, it does.
So thank you, Robin.
And we need it. We need it.
Love you.
Love you too.
Tell them boys though. Tell your real boys I said hi. Okay.
Okay. All right. I sure will.
All right. Blessings.
All right. Bye-bye.